Well, hello and welcome to the Leveraged Podcast. I'm Paul Richard, your host, and we have a special guest from St. Louis metro area, Dr. Mike Munro. Mike, welcome to the podcast today. It's good to have you with us.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. We had a mutual connection through one of our mutual friends, and so I'm so glad to make a connection. I told him I would love to interview as many chiropractors and naturopathic affiliated professions that I could. And so he said, lo and behold, I know the president of the Missouri Chiropractic Association, and lo and behold, we are together today. So give us a little bit of the background of you, Dr. Mike, and how you got into this profession in the first place.
Well, I'll try and keep this as brief as possible, but it was kind of a long road. When I got out of college, undergrad at Mizzou, my major was financial management, and the love of my life was playing baseball, and both of those things kind of ended quickly after college when I decided to work with my dad, who was involved with a nutritional supplement company. And so I thought I'd give that a shot, and found out that I became very interested in the nutrition, and we sold to mainly healthcare professionals, which were chiropractors that used the nutritional protocols. And so I just started learning, and that was back in the, not to date myself, but that was back in the early 90s. And then I just kept learning, and I started following these leaders in chiropractic who were just amazing, and it just sparked my interest. And so after about 20 years of almost 20 years of doing that, I decided I wanted more, and it got to the point where I was going basically office to office selling nutritional products, and trying to seeing the value of nutrition coupled with the chiropractic adjustments. I was going office to office trying to get these doctors to utilize more nutrition in their practices, and just getting shut down left and right. And I would come home from a week being out on the road and just be depressed. And my wife said, you got two choices basically right now. And she said, you can either sell your distributorship and do something else, or you need to go back to school and become a chiropractor. And I'm like, really? At this time, we had three kids,
Oh,
three sons under 3 years of age, and so yeah, so my wife was a big supporter of me in this profession. But yeah, so I decided to go back to school, and I got my chiropractic degree got my DC in 2013, and opened up my practice in 2014. So this is going on 13 years now that I've been in practice, and been loving every minute.
that's awesome. Before we went into the podcast, you mentioned a little bit about chiropractic training, and you mentioned, I believe, that there was somewhat a lack of business training for in the chiropractic profession. So you went to Parker University in Dallas, right?
Correct.
And so when obviously you had the business acumen from your training and that previously to be able to start the business. What advice do you have for those chiropractors? Either they're coming into the school, they're leaving school, or they're already in business and they're going, man, I'm having a tough time with the business side. Do you have any particular recommendations to them as to what to become better business people? How would you advise them?
Wow, I mean, that's really tough. Everybody has their own niche, but I was fortunate enough not to have to make all my living from my practice, because I still have a distributorship in the nutritional company that I work for, which has been well established, and and I do very well from that. but how I started, and I opened up my own office. I didn't want to be an associate for anybody, which is an option for people, for chiropractors coming out of school, associateship or an independent contractor, being you can work in someone else's office but have your own patients, right? So that's a another way to save on rent or building space, your space. Um, but I started and I got my own space, and then I guess for me it was marketing, word of mouth. That's what I wanted. I mean, I spent some money, and all these things failed that I tried. That I found most successful getting out to networking groups and telling people what I did, and how I could help and what I could help with and things of that sort, and got people to start coming in, and then it was word of mouth. Because when I opened my doors, I was in buildings that didn't have any front signage. That Yeah, I mean, you couldn't. Yeah, I don't have any walk-ins. It was basically appointment only. So that was, and these are things that people coming out and wanting to start their own practice. These are things that you can do, is get a basically a storefront, with signage out there and everything like that, be more visible. You can There's different ways to market. You can do a lot of social media stuff, that doesn't cost a lot. You can hire these guys that do the social media stuff for you. What I found out, they're pretty costly. Um, but there's practice management groups out there. Some are better than others. We'll just leave it at that. Um, that help you. But from what I've heard, a lot of them, that I've heard goods and bads about that, but I never use them. Um, I wish schools would have some sort of business type course, or just a couple courses or something like that for marketing and that. But that's what associations are for too. Like you already mentioned, that I was the president of the Missouri Chiropractic Physicians Association, and most state associations, no matter where you're going to practice in, help, especially new chiropractors right out of school. They have a lot of things that, if you become a member of the association, they help tremendously with getting started. But I know here in the state of Missouri, we have lots of help and literature, and things that the new chiropractor can access to really help them start their business and market, and forms that they need, patient intake forms and stuff, insurance help to get started in that. And yeah, so there are definitely things available, for new chiropractors, but I'm not going to lie, it's tough.
Absolutely. And you're fighting a allopathic mindset out there, right? At the same time, so you've got the audience in general is being told one thing, and you're bringing some different solutions to the table that sometimes are intuitive to what people have already learned and know out in the marketplace, right? So totally get that, understand that. The name of your practice, is it NutriWest, or what's the name of your practice?
No, that's the supplement company
Oh,
that
okay.
I'm a distributor for. But the name of my practice is Primary Care Chiropractic. I picked that
Primary
out.
care chiropractic.
The first semester I was at, my first trimester, I should say, that I was in school. I was thinking about a name for my practice, and I mean, I'm like, I want to be a primary care physician. I mean, there's a lot of controversy in this, but actually, chiropractors are portal of entry physicians. They are, which means we don't need a referral, or patients don't need a referral, right, to come to see a chiropractor. They can come to us as a primary care physician, and then we decide if we can help them with their problems. If we can't, we refer to who we think can. They should go see. But if we can, then we help them within the scope of our practice. So that is a portal of entry physician, which means we're basically a primary care physician. Well, we can be. And this is a whole a whole big story in the chiropractic profession, because some chiropractors think that we should just be structural, right, and or neuromusculoskeletal, right. Um, some just think musculoskeletal. Some think we don't need to branch out any. We don't need to do any modalities or techniques other than the chiropractic adjustment. Um, but then, as we talked a little bit before the show, before the podcast, and we said there's different kind of like specialties, um, where chiropractors use different techniques, right? And we everybody adjusts differently, because even in the different schools, like Logan University has a technique called Logan Basic that no other school teaches, right? It's just their technique. It's an adjusting technique for chiropractors, but no other school teaches that. There's your all around diversified technique where and it's just what it means. I mean, it's diversified, right? So like every chiropractor takes it makes it his own or her own, makes it their own technique, right? It's diversified. And then there's Gonstead, and there's Activator, and there's I mean, there's a lot of different chiropractic adjusting techniques even that you can use. So if you just stop right there, right? I mean, there's different things. If you just go musculoskeletal for a chiropractor, which is structural, right? You have different techniques that you can use, and then you can incorporate other modalities or treatment protocols, right? They can be vibrational techniques, which percussion and things like that. They can be nutritional, uh, different techniques to implement nutrition in your practice. Um, there's lasers now. There's just a whole bunch of things, right, that chiropractors can use, right, besides the chiropractic adjustment to get people asymptomatic or out of pain, or just get them physically or healthier.
That's awesome. And so, Dr. Mike, one of the things I was wondering as you're speaking there is when you're bringing a new patient in, uh, I think it's important to look holistically at what's going on in the past, right? And their current situation. What do you do when you have somebody coming in for the first time? Can you walk us through a little bit of what that looks like in your practice?
Yeah, sure. Um, there's first thing is, what does the patient want? What do they what are they here for, right? Um, but it stems from like, so I have to look at that first, and then go from there on what I do, basically. But in a nutshell, most of the people that come to me, they want to get better, right, from whatever that's ailing them. They want to get better. I see very few just um, pain patients, right, just back pain, neck pain, your typical chiropractic patient. That's not who walks into my office. So after 12 years, I've put it out there that that's not really who I want to see. I will help anybody, right? But so people that come into my office, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit them down. We're going to have a little consultation. I'm going to look at why they're in there, like I said, and then we're going to run them through some different tests. The first being a what's called a Zyto scan, where it's a bio a computer feedback program. Like a biomeridian scan, where that gives me like it shows me kind of what's stressing the body out at that time. Um, then then we'll look at some go through some different applied kinesiology, AK procedures, where I test muscles, different muscle groups, and find out what's going on there. Um, and then from there, if we need to order any labs or do any diagnostic imaging, um, that's what I do. We'll order those, and if I can start treatment that day, I will do whatever I can do treatment wise in the office. If I can't, if I need to see the labs or the imaging, um, then we will make another appointment and come back and review that and start treatment if necessary.
Okay. Um, as you're talking about that, I'm thinking, okay, well, a lot of our listeners obviously won't be in the St. Louis market area, but they're going to go to a chiropractor in their locality. What kind of questions would you recommend to somebody going into the chiropractor, especially for the first time, to just kind of get a gauge on, is this going to be the right thing for me to do at this point? Obviously, pain drives most people, I think, to the chiropractor, right? I mean, that's probably the main driver. Am I wrong in that, or would that be pretty common?
Usually, yes. I would have to say yes. Pain is the biggest driver why anybody goes to a physician, right? Um,
Right.
so yeah, pain is a big one. And if they're looking to resolve pain, I mean, just ask. I mean, not knowing what a if this is the first time ever to a chiropractor, just ask them kind of, how they deal with it. Like how do you help with the pain? And a chiropractor will explain, how the chiropractic adjustment helps with pain, or how their physiotherapy treatments help with the pain, or how laser helps with pain, or how nutrition can help with anti-inflammatory or pain control. Um, they'll be able to explain. They should be what they do, right? Um, but everybody's different. Some people might not want a chiropractic adjustment. Some people might not want to take pills. Some people might not want you know a specific treatment that chiropractors do. They might not like that kind of treatment. So it's good to know what that chiropractic physician does in his office or her office, um, before they go, uh, and that will help them make up their mind a little bit better, I guess.
Agreed. And in your practice, there's, I'd love to have you just tell us a little bit about what some of the offerings you have for modalities there in your office. I mean, I see several, let's say around my area, one really promotes red light therapy, another one promotes hyperbaric chamber, another one promotes some other device that they might have at their facility, those types of things. What modalities do you have available at your practice there in St. Louis?
So of course, the what I do here as a chiropractor, the chiropractic adjustment, um, and then that's a big thing, big treatment protocol that we use, obviously as a chiropractor, um, and then to help with the chiropractic adjustment, do use red light therapy, but also violet. It's in a laser. It's a red and a violet, um, which the wavelengths there have different outcomes, different treatment. They differ in that the violet is more of a antimicrobial, has more of an antimicrobial effect, and the red is more geared towards pain and inflammation. And I use an zirconia. Laser and zirconia has a lot of FDA patents, for treating certain conditions, which is cool. So that's big, and like I said, pain. The laser helps with pain. The adjustment helps with pain. Nutrition is very big in my office. So supplements, homeopathics, vitamins, minerals, enzymes, herbals. Um, then we have a lot of vibrational therapy, in the form of percussion, trigger point therapies, uh, and something called the nerve plate, which is a vibration that you stand on or sit on. Um, I don't know if you've heard of the I don't know what they're called, but they have them in some gyms and stuff like that where you can go stand on these vibrational tectonic plates or whatever.
Oh, yes, yes.
So this is just a smaller form of that you can even sit down, put your feet on it, um, and it really has a lot of therapeutic effects to for the lymphatic system and pain and things of that nature. But overall, I would say the AK technique, applied kinesiology, is how I basically interpret what's going on with people. And so the AK technique has a lot of um, uh, neuromusculoskeletal, even visceral uh, treatments that go alongside with the technique. So,
Very good. So, Dr. Mike, what about the nutritional support that you've talked about? That seems to be a very strong suit for you, is in the nutrition area, which I think is awesome. And I think we know in the allopathic world, most of the practitioners are not, at least in general, are not trained heavily in the nutrition area for supporting patient recovery, or maintenance of adjustments, those kinds of things. So, can you talk a little bit about nutritional support for the chiropractor and how you utilize that? And so, maybe some specific cases of how you've used nutrition as either a protocol that really brought the results in the end or supported some of the results of your chiropractic adjustments and such. Does that make sense?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, and
Okay.
there's for whatever reasons, there's just a whole lot of reasons, right, why people are deficient in nutrients, right, or they need supplements, right. Why they're called nutritional supplements, right, is because they're supposed to supplement our diet, right. Um, but you can utilize nutrition just the same way that you utilize pharmaceutical medications, right? You can utilize them for symptoms, um, but you can also utilize nutrition uh, for overall health. I mean, like, so biochemically, uh, we all we're all a big bunch of protein, right? That's what our DNA is proteins, right? It's a chain of amino acids, and these amino acids code for enzymes. And enzymes is how we do everything in our body. Everything happens because of enzymatic reactions in our body. But these enzymes turn on and turn off because of vitamins and minerals, right? Those are the things that turn on and off these enzymes, make them happen. They're called cofactors or coenzymes. And so we can be deficient, right, in nutrients, meaning vitamins and minerals. We're never deficient in anything pharmaceutical when we're born. We're never deficient in any herbs. We're never deficient in any homeopathics. We're not deficient in these things, right? But so we have basic vitamins and minerals that basically that's what we live off of. That's how we run. That's how we stay alive. That's how our cells replicate. Um, so I would say those are the most important things. And if you can figure out, what people are deficient in or what they need most to increase the function biochemically in our bodies, that's what I try to do, right, with people. Now, some people they need more help and they need quicker help. That's where some homeopathy and herbs and enzymes and that nature. That's where they can help, right? Um, but I look at genetics too, right? Um, because uh, there's basically three things that dictate how our health is going to be. That's genetics, right? The environment and our lifestyle. Those are the three things that basically determine everybody's health, right? So yeah, I mean, genetics do play a part. So we look at your genetic codes, and and that leads us to see like what you are deficient in or what you can be deficient in based on your genetics, right? It doesn't mean you have to be, because out of genetics, environment, and lifestyle obviously is the most is what we basically influences our health the most, right? Um, so nutrition wise, we can use it. We can use it to help our genetics. We can use it uh, to help labs, right? We look at lab tests, blood work, urinalysis, stool if you need to see stool samples, and we look at these results and we see, we can see deficiencies, um, and we can see where we need to address what we need to address, nutritionally, functionally, right? Um, and then there's always, sorry, then there's always the patient that comes in that's in pain, right? I mean, we talked about that. So there's certain enzymes that will help, with muscle pain, um, and and other nutrients, anti-inflammatory type nutrients that will help um, with pain. So we can use the nutrition for pain purposes, for symptoms and stuff like that. Allergies is another big one. Instead of going to the store and getting antihistamines and stuff, and these all these like cough suppressants and antihistamines and everything, they're what's in a category called anticholinergic drugs, and choline is a big acetylcholine is a big neurotransmitter for your parasympathetic sympathetic nervous system. So what all these antihistamines and cough suppressants and over the counter um, medications like this are doing is basically blocking the uh, the acetylcholine production, which is your main neurotransmitter, like I said, for the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. And people are just like overly stressed out these days, and which is your sympathetic nervous system. So yeah, I mean, nutrition can be used in so many different ways. It's really life altering.
Absolutely. And could you say, or maybe give us an idea, what's the most common deficiencies, maybe the top three that you see because of our, current processed food issues and diabetes being so prevalent and seed oils and all these things that contribute to negative effects on our health. And also, just in fact, I saw a gentleman the other day, a chiropractor, talking about, if you're drinking, we drink water all the time, right? We're all carrying our Yetis now, and we're always drinking. And sometimes that can actually draw minerals out of your system, and cause deficiencies over time, right? In that world. But back to my original question for you was, would you say were the top three deficiencies that you see in your practice, or is there even some major ones that you could determine?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I would have to say number one and number two are very close, but that would be vitamin D and magnesium. Um, and it's being talked about more and more, which is good, especially after COVID, the vitamin D especially. Uh, but yeah, people are severely deficient in vitamin D and severely deficient in magnesium, and they basically run hand in hand too. Vitamin D and magnesium, you need them both, and they both work together, and one doesn't work without the other one. Um, and vitamin D shouldn't even be called a vitamin. It should have been a hormone,
Mm.
because it's that um, it's that important in our body, and it does that many different things. But one thing is the immune system, uh, and it is very, very, very important. Magnesium, we don't really get enough. Excuse me, we don't really get enough. of magnesium in our foods anymore, because basically there's this thing called glyphosate that's in Roundup and herbicides and pesticides, and actually basically sucks the magnesium out of the soil. Um, so plants are very deficient in magnesium. The animals that eat the plants are very deficient in magnesium. Um, it's kind of weird, but people get tested for magnesium all the time, and it's in a serum magnesium. So and it always almost always comes back normal, within normal range. And so everybody's like, well, I'm not deficient in magnesium. Well, that's really a bad marker for a magnesium test. What I use is a red blood cell magnesium test. So it's magnesium actually inside the cell, and it's a way better marker, and you can see how deficient people are in magnesium when you test the red blood cell magnesium. Um, and magnesium is so important because it, it's really it's used in muscle. It's used in there's over 1,000 different biochemical pathways that magnesium is needed in our bodies. So if you're deficient in magnesium, you can have a lot of different issues. Um, the third one, and you mentioned it briefly. You mentioned seed oils. Um, so the seed oils are called omega-6 fatty acids. They're most of them are very inflammatory um, in nature. Uh, the one fatty acid that counters that is omega-3 fatty acids, right? And the top three omega-3 fatty acids are EPA, DHA, and ALA. Um, so EPA and DHA are the main two. ALA is the vegetarian source of omega-3, which is basically the biggest one is flaxseed that ALA comes from. But the conversion rate from ALA to EPA is so bad that you cannot, in my opinion, and there's studies out there that show this, you cannot get enough omega-3s from ALA. You need EPA and DHA, which is basically a good fish oil source is the best. So but because of all the people, so in a lab test I like to use is an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio test, which will show the ratio of in your body of omega-6 or bad fats to good fats. And people are severely deficient in omega-3s, from what I found out anyway in my practice. And by raising the omega-3s, so we use a lot of omega-3 fish oils, um, and it helps with inflammation. It helps with inflammation in the gut a lot, because that's where it starts. Um, and that's those are basically the three that I see the most, is vitamin D, magnesium, and omega-3s.
Very good, very good. So, Dr. Mike, on the D vitamin there, I see a lot of D3 and K2 supplements coming out. I see a lot of, straight up D3. How many D vitamins are there? And like, if I just go out in the sun, I'm told if I go out in the sun, I'm going to get D vitamin production in my body. Is that correct?
It is, in most circumstances, but a the one thing that's happening today is everybody's scared going out in the sun without any protection, right? So a
Right.
lot of people lather on the sunscreen, and that actually blocks the rays the that actually produce or make your body produce the vitamin D in your body. So um, again, that's why we're seeing a lot of vitamin D deficiency, is because
Yep.
people are afraid of the sun, right? Where they lather on this sunscreen, which is probably not the best for you if you look at the ingredients and how many chemicals. And on most sunscreen bottles that you buy, just look, it says do not put in your mouth, right? If you get it in your mouth or your eyes, call a poison control center. I mean, that's on the bottles. So,
Yeah.
but you can lather it on your skin, which your skin is very porous and likes to absorb things, right? So you can put this stuff on your skin and it's okay, but just don't eat it, right? Don't put it in your mouth because that might be harmful, which
And
is
it wouldn't
just
be
really weird.
the skin's almost more of a direct pathway to your bloodstream than eating it, almost, isn't it?
Almost, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Incredible. Incredible.
But yeah, so
Yeah. It's
that's why people are. I mean, that's one reason why people are deficient in vitamin D, is because they don't get it from the sun. One, they're not out in the sun. Two, when they are out in the sun, they block it. They block the good. They block the rays from doing what they should do and helping your body make that vitamin D. And then the
interesting.
vitamin
Interesting.
K. Vitamin K works along with vitamin D. A lot of times, not a lot, but I've seen instances where people are deficient in vitamin K, and while they have enough vitamin D in their blood, right, it's not getting utilized because vitamin K is needed to make the the vitamin D work on the receptor sites for vitamin D.
Mm,
Uh,
mm.
so a lot of times people that are deficient in vitamin K are not getting the effects of the vitamin D that they have in their body.
Very good. And can you speak a little bit to the issue of supplementation and if people say, "Oh, I just heard from this podcast that I should get vitamin D and K," and then I, not knowing better, I run out to, the pharmacy or Walmart or something and grab it off the shelf. Is there generally a difference between the quality of that or possibly something more like the NutriWest products that you carry or something like that? Is there varying degrees of effectiveness and quality of the ingredients in those nutrient supplements?
There's definitely differences in quality. Yes, there are professional supplement companies out there like NutriWest, and you mentioned Standard Process, and there are a host of other companies out there that get their raw materials from a few well-known sources around the world, right? That they call pharmaceutical grade nutrients, right? That are pure extracts of of these uh, of these supplements, of these nutrients, right? Whether it be
Yep.
vitamin C or vitamin A or herbs or whatever, right? They're all extracts of organic plant and animals, right? That they know exactly, where they came from, and they're tested not only at where they process them, but also when the professional supplement company receives those ingredients, they're tested again for uh, for purity and non non-toxic materials, right? So yeah, they're and believe me, I've been to the NutriWest plant in Douglas, Wyoming, numerous times, and I mean, the FDA crawls all over that place to make sure that they are abiding by the standards of manufacturing, right? And they've won the FDA Blue Ribbon Award for
Hmm.
excellence in manufacturing. Um, and it's really neat to see how they take this pure extract and combine them with other nutrients and make these finished products that are all natural and no fillers and no toxins or chemicals or anything like that. So yeah, and not everything on the shelf in a Target or a Walmart or a Walgreens or supplement superstore or everything, wherever that is, right, can say that. Um, because here, let's just take fish oil for example, because I brought that up, and I use a lot of fish oil in my practice. And fish oil, I mean, first, what fish does it come from? I mean, I know you know probably, but there's a lot of fish out there that I wouldn't even eat, right?
Yes.
Much, I mean, like farmed anything, right?
Tilapia or whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
tilapia, geez, yeah, it's all farmed, right?
Yep.
But even there's farmed salmon now. There's farmed everything out there is that can be farmed, right? So if you're extracting fish oil from these farmed fish, right? That's one thing. Then how do you process that fish oil, right? Is it if you heat up that fish oil to process it to get out whatever toxins or whatever, then you're actually breaking bonds, the double bonds in the carbon chain of that omega-3 fatty acid, right? You break the double bonds, and now it all of a sudden it becomes an omega-6. You hydrogenate those omega-3s, and they become omega-6s. Remember back in the day when hydrogenated oils, right? And you see all the in the bags of chips, right? Especially, you see no trans fats that are hydrogenated oils, right? Well, that's what they are. They're the hydrogenated oils are turning a good fat into a bad fat. You're hydrogenating it by breaking a double bond and adding a hydrogen to that carbon, and that's called a hydrogenated oil. Well, that happens in the processing of these omega-3s. So you can go out and say, look, I found a 120 capsule bottle of omega-3s for $10. And I'm like, yeah, if it's processed correctly, and if you get the raw materials from good fish, right? And it's processed correctly, where it's cold processed, and you go through all the rigmarole to just get the fish oil and to make sure it's high quality and no toxins and all that. I guarantee you it's not $10 for a bottle of 120 capsules, right? You get what you pay for. But then again, that's what I'm talking when it comes to quality, and people don't understand that. And when it comes to fish oils, it can actually be very bad for your health, instead of not even being like good or like neutral, like you're taking it and you're just, it's going in you and then out of you without getting digested. No, it can actually hurt you, bad fish oils. So yeah, and that's what a lot of the allopathic community is saying. It's like, oh, supplements, they don't do any good for you. You just, they and they're correct in a lot of cases, right? But that shouldn't be a detriment to try and find a good product out there, right? Because that's what we live off of is the nutrients.
I love that because yes, you're right. So you say, okay, I've got this deficiency or I've got an ailment that requires, what's one of the big ones right now would be turmeric, right? Turmeric's everywhere. Turmeric, curcumin. And so you're right. You go out and you source that and you say, well, this didn't do any good, right? And then you would maybe come to your office and you say, well, NutriWest, processes theirs differently and you get more bioavailability, et cetera, and all those kind of things. And their eyes roll over because they don't know what you're talking about. But then they try that and it actually functionally works, right? And so I mean, just from the standpoint of making decisions out there on what nutrients to take, supplementation to take, just coming to your office and meeting with you, they could immediately come up with a better solution than trying to figure it out on their own out there. So I think that's a huge part of it is getting the right advice, right, and coming to the professional like yourself to understand that. I mean, what part of your education or what part of the education now, if you went to let's say Logan University or down to Parker University, how much hours do they spend on nutritional training in those schools these days? Is that a lot?
No, not enough.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's unfortunate, but what I was told when I was in school is you're learning more of what not to do when you get in practice, kind of a save your butt type protocol, like what to look
Yeah,
for that won't get you in trouble, get you sued for malpractice and all that, than they do
sure.
teaching you what you should do.
I see.
So a lot of the courses we take are I mean, yeah, it's definitely good sound, anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, radiology. All those are really sound. But then, you have in every one of those courses, it's like, this is what you look out for. These are red flags. You don't, you have to look for these before you touch a patient, before you adjust them, before you do anything. So emergencies can walk into your office and you have to refer them out immediately because you don't, so these red flags on what to look for, that was huge. That's what our part 4 boards were mostly on. That's what all the our board tests were on, a lot of that stuff, right? And I
Yes.
got most of my nutritional background from working, having the luxury of working with a superior professional nutritional company like NutriWest, and just learning, over the last, like I said, it was 20 years before I even went back to school to be a chiropractor. So I was fortunate in that aspect of knowing a lot of nutrition. But then after I got out, I took 300 extra hours in a DABC course, which is um, a diplomate through the American Board of Chiropractic Internists, right? So that was had a lot to do with nutrition also. Um, and so yeah, above and beyond chiropractic school, that's where I got most of my nutrition background from. Which,
Very good. That's awesome. And okay, so a couple things about the event coming. You've got an event coming up, Missouri Chiropractic Association. That's an annual event, right? The
it
meeting that you're
is,
having.
yeah, yep.
Okay, okay. So that's coming up. What's the date on that one again for this year?
That is, I believe it's August 6th to 8th.
6th to 8th at Chateau on the Lake in Branson, Missouri, coming up. Fantastic. And also for your practice, can you give us your phone number and contact information that you'd like to share with the audience? So once they come off of this podcast, they're like, I need to call Mike and get an appointment set. Where would they do that?
Yeah, my office phone number is 314-485-8058. And name of the practice again is Primary Care Chiropractic. And my email is Dr. Mike, so Dr. Mike at primary care chiro, chiro.com.
Very good. All right, Dr. Mike, this has been fantastic. Was there anything on your heart or mind that you wanted to share that I didn't bring out in our question time?
Actually, I think that's you brought out a bunch of good questions, and I hope I supplied some decent enough answers.
That's fantastic. And I do thank you for your time today and look forward to staying in a relationship with you now that we've had a chance to get to know each other a little bit better. So, all right, Mike, you take care. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Paul.